Alright, here we go. We are diving into game number 1 of this potential final series, but we're here in the round of 2. We're here in the second round. It's crazy. But here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE. We have the best Terran in the land of Peru. We have the blue Terran player representing Eximius Gaming. It is Kaozfate. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the CranKy Duckling himself. Arguably the second best player in all of Latin America, because he did come second in Latin America DreamHack. He had a beautiful run this season. He is the CranKy Duckling, the Brazilian Zerg. He is Erik. Let's go. And Kaozfate is one of the strongest Terran players in the entire region. Of course, you have players of the likes of Special and Kelazur and Terran. I would put Kaozfate up there with Terran. I think they're more or less equal right now. For those wondering, and for those who weren't here when the tale was told, and why Kaozfate didn't actually make it to the playoffs of the DreamHack Latin America, he made it all the way to the closed qualifier, and he just bombed out of the closed qualifier, and I was perplexed. I was like, what's going on? He was not playing the way that he usually does. He was very slow to react. Like it just wasn't the same Kaozfate that we were used to in the closed qualifiers for DreamHack. We later found out, as I was speaking with Ducklings about it, and we asked Kaozfate, the night before the DreamHack closed qualifier, it was Kaozfate's birthday. You know what that means. You know what that means. That means that Kaozfate, he not only drank, but he also injured his hand by punching through a glass table. and I was like, what? And it's like, yeah, apparently his hand was all cut up. It was either a glass table or like a glass window. It was a glass something, and I don't know, mate. I don't know what the hell Kaozfate was on, but Kaozfate was injured, and because of that, he underperformed pretty heavily in the DreamHack qualifiers, and he was knocked out. And it was like, what the hell, man? Like, honestly, he had a pretty clear road to make it to the main event. He could have been there, but just every time there's an important event, something happens with Kaozfate, mate. It's just not meant to be. Just not meant to be. Oh god. So yeah, that's why he didn't really have a very good DreamHack run. It was decent, don't get me wrong, but not as far as he would have liked to have been. And now here he is in the second round going up against Erik. We'll see how Erik does. Erik, of course, he has his own style of ZvT. I'm sure everyone has seen it. He is a lot more fond of roach play into lurkers. And honestly, he can do very well. He can do very well. But at the same time, you could also argue that it's a little bit samey, right? Like, very rarely do we see Ling Bane meter play come out from Erik. So potentially you can hard counter it. You can go 1-1-1 into a Banshee, and we'll see if that's what Kaozfate goes for. He did open up with a fast 30C opening. The Overlord did scout everything in the main base, so Erik is fully aware. There it is. His famed Roach Warren is on the way. It isn't early by any means. It's just a pretty standard Roach Warren timing here from Erik. It's going to be coming out so he can use roaches in his main army. We'll see how hard he commits to roaches. Oh my, we are going to be having a Banshee coming out here from Kaozfate again. Like, that's the thing. Because Erik always goes for roaches, Banshee openers can do very well here. I say that we do have a Viking first and then a Banshee. Pretty interesting that he opted to go for a Viking first. It's very interesting indeed, but yeah, there we go. We're still getting a Banshee out anyway. What's a little bit surprising to me is that Kaozfate hasn't been very active with his Hellions. He pushed out a little bit, but he hasn't really tried to stop any of this creep spread, and that's a little bit dangerous. Now is the time to like take advantage of your Hellions, not 10 seconds from now when all these roaches come out, right? Like, roaches, they deflect Hellions so well, and right now Erik is a little bit vulnerable to Hellions, but Kaozfate, he wasn't able to really hit that timing. Now he pushes in, but I mean, the roaches are coming out. There are plenty of queens, there are plenty of wings. These Hellions shouldn't deal too much damage. Ooh, do pick up a creep tumor. Nice. Oh my god, he's actually fighting the roaches. I don't know if that's what you want to be doing, mate. He almost gets one roach, but he does back off. Viking almost gets picked off as well. Have to be careful. There were plenty of queens here. And we see Kaozfate is coming to bio, which is what we expect from him. And yes, there is a new point redemption to thank Guru. Yes. Shout out to Guru, by the way. Again, she's deep in the Polish mountains. Meanwhile, all the Hellions, they find a way in. Ooh, there were a bunch of Lings ready and waiting for them, though. And Chaos doesn't take the bait. He doesn't dive into the natural. Keeps his Hellions alive. Pretty interesting that he opted to go for this, right? He's like, yo, maybe he could have gotten in. Maybe he could have dealt some economic damage. But he prioritizes keeping these Hellions alive to just have eyes on the map. Like, that's where his priorities are. And I respect that. Meanwhile, unless I'm crazy, did the Banshee dive in? Oh, there we go. I was like, yo, where the Banshee's at? Banshee does finally dive in. Hasn't been able to deal too much damage. 3 worker kills so far. At the same time, oh god, we have the other Banshee looking to dip into the natural base. But there are plenty of queens, there are spores. These Banshees are not finding too much here. Oh, never mind. Oh my god. Oh my god. Erik, please. At the same time, the Hellions are going to the third base. Yo, there's no response and it's over-droned. Oh my god, they're all lining up. Oh, solid volley there. Meanwhile, oh my god, the drones, please split puppy. As the Lings do get on top of the Hellions, only 6 drones go down. That could have been a lot worse. My heart. Oh my god. Meanwhile, at the same time, those queens, they actually survived. They were able to take down the Banshee, and Erik was able to just barely defend on all fronts. And losing 6 drones, again, it's pretty negligible. He's taking another base. He has the freedom to drone up now. Kaozfate, he's still working on his push. It's still, again, he's still working on it. There's only 1 tank here. Pushing out with 1 tank is very risky. Ideally, you push out with 2 or 3. And what's scary is that he lost all his Hellions, and now there's nothing to stop this creep spread. You can just keep on going. Meanwhile, I did see your message, Skater. You know, where has Milk and Cookies been? Milk was actually house sitting a dog this week, which is why we didn't cast ESL Americas. I don't know if you noticed. I did see that For Sure's was like, yo, did you guys sleep in? Like, what happened to the ESL Americas cast? It's a very long cast, and I usually start that with Milk and Cookies, but he was house sitting this week, so he was unavailable to cast, unfortunately. I do love casting with him. But yeah, wasn't available. Hopefully we'll be able to cast ESL Americas this week. Hopefully. Meanwhile, here we go. Kaozfate, he's pushing out with 2 tanks here. He has to be careful. You know, there are plenty of Ravagers to bow down those tanks. Oh, and the Biles do connect. It looks like he gets one of the tanks. The second one does stand strong. The Bio is trading relatively well here, but god, there are just so many Ravagers, and all of this is going to be cleaned up. Oh, a pretty big loss there from Kaozfate. Oh my god, the Banshee! As the Banshee goes down as well, and this is devastating. Kaozfate just lost 2 tanks. He only has 1 left to defend, and once that tank falls, like, this army is so fragile. The Ravager, it just keeps on pushing on forward here. The Biles are not really connecting, but again, they're forcing Kaozfate to micro back, and now he's forced to pull the boys. Oh my god, and even more Biles land. They do connect on the Medivacs. More Medivacs get sniped out of the sky. And Kaozfate holds, but he lost, again, a lot of Medivacs, a lot of units, a lot of SCVs. As 11 SCVs do fall. And Erik, it's not like he was just planning to stay on Roach Ravager the entire game. I mentioned it before. He does want to get into those lurkers. Not only lurkers, but infestors as well. I don't know how I feel about the infestors. I don't know if they're necessary. Obviously, fungals are amazing, and you know, fungals in conjunction with lurkers and vials can work well. It's just a little bit odd, just because usually I see lurkers paired with vipers, not so much infestors. They both work. I would say the biggest problem is that right now, Erik, his entire army is focused on the ground, so it can be a little bit awkward for these infestors to get into position to actually land those fungals and, you know, get past all the roaches and ravagers and lings and lurkers. But at the moment, he is relying on these infestors to help hold this push. Oh my god, 4 tanks though, that's a scary army. Meanwhile, Erik does send off a small force here. Yo, there's no planetary, there's no tanks, there's no defenses here. Finally, 1 tank does reposition. But this forces everything back home. Oh my god. Oh, can he get the tank? The tank does go down. And yeah, honestly, like, Erik, he dealt a lot of damage with that. Like, sure, he didn't get a lot of SCV kills, but he got a tank, he pulled the army back, he got a sensor tower, which means it's easier to attack this position later on. Meanwhile, there we go, Kaozfate, he has had enough. He has maxed out, he has 2-2 working on 3-3. He's pushing out deep into creep. What is there to defend? We have 5 lurkers. Where are our infestors? There we go, our infestors are on the way. The Vipers are on the way as well. There's a lot of spellcasters to control here for Erik. Let's see how he can do. We have fungal. Oh, it does land. Oh my god, a beautiful fungal. Chain fungal even. The bios land. Immediately, 3 tanks just went down. At the same time, a massive ling run by here at the 3rd base. Gonna be able to deny the 5th and get a bunch of SCV kills. At the same time, Kaozfate, he can't turn around. He's gonna keep going. These lurkers are a little bit exposed. He scans, but he doesn't go for it. Instead, he's trying to defend at home. Oh my god, and this is buying Erik so much time to make another wave of lurkers. 7 lurkers are on the way. Yo, this amount of lurkers is scary because at this point, Erik, he can just burrow on top of the army. Oh, as another tank goes down, only 3 tanks remaining. The problem is that, again, because of that run by, like the reinforcements are stuck at home. This army has been left alone. A beautiful fungal, the bios, where are the bios, puppy? Instead, he goes for the burrow on the lurkers. Everything just gets annihilated. This is what I mean. When you have this many lurkers, mate, you bile, you just dive on top of the army, burrow, and what can the army even do? Would you have 1 liberator? We did have 1 liberator. It gets piled down. The Vipers finally show up. What do the Vipers want to do? They can yoink the tank, or they can just blinding cloud. What are we gonna see? There's the yoink. Tank goes down. Ooh, parasitic bomb. Nice choice there by Erik. Completely zones out the army, and now this planetary, it's easy pickings, mate. Easily gets picked off. And now Kaozfate, he's like, I cannot fight this. I gotta go for the base trade. Which is completely understandable. This is like the only way that Kaozfate can win right now. He just can't fight this, and Erik, he's gonna make a choice. Does he turn around or does he commit? Oh my god, the fungals, oh my god, he doesn't even need to turn around. Another fungal lands. 3 fungals. The army is still alive, but just barely. 1 more fungal could do the trick here. So many of these units are in the red. Some of the army does turn around. He does come back home, and there's plenty here for Erik to defend. There it is. There's the final fungal. Everything gets cleaned up. Only 3 units survive here in the medevac. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, the lurkers are still here. I mean, this 3rd base is barely mining. The liberators will be able to push away these lurkers, and Kaozfate, he is like cleaning up at home, but there's just so much Erik. And Erik takes game number 1. GG, well played, and now we have to get ready for game number 2. So I quickly set up the lobby for these guys. There we go. What the hell was going on in chat? What a nice voice. Shout out to Games Kingdom in the chat. people may not know this, but Games Kingdom, that is Gustavo. He is the Brazilian caster for Battle of the Americas. So massive shout out to Gustavo. He usually, again, he's going to be live tomorrow with Battle of the Americas, casting over in Portuguese. He's one of the guys behind Team Host, I believe. We maybe have some lobby issues. Maybe have a lobby bug potentially, as we are trying to get set up here. And so game number 2 is going to be hosted on Oxide, but we maybe have some issues here, just some technical issues. I may just pass the lobby lead to someone else. Oh, hey. Let's go. Mate, for sure is, what do you, exclamation mark Funada for sure is in the chat, mate. Jim versus Egg, that should be interesting. Yeah, Jim Rising versus Eggs. That's another amazing match. Yo, like again, a lot of pretty insane matchups happening pretty early on already. Pretty cutthroat here in the land of Latino America, but here we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Peruvian Terran. He is blue, representing Eximius Gaming. It is Kaozfate, the best Terran in all of Peru. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Brazilian Zerg. He's red, representing the CranKy Ducklings, shaking up the Latin American scene, especially when it comes to the top 3 and top 2. We have Erik. The CranKy Duckling himself, mate. And game number 1, he was able to show off his style very well there. He has a very unique approach to ZvT, right? He goes for his roaches, he goes for his ravagers, interlurkers, you know, with his fungals and his vipers as well. There are some strengths and there are some weaknesses. I do think that Kaozfate, I love that he opened up with Banshees, right? With that Banshee opener. But he wasn't able to really do anything with them. He got like 3 drone kills and that's kind of it. I would have preferred that to have been with the main army instead, or at least, you know, go up to 3 Banshees and use them to kind of maintain creep control and go up against the main army. One of the things that Erik really lacks is anti-air, so you can take advantage of that with Banshees or with drops as well. There are a couple of different things that you can do to take on someone like Erik, and yeah, that's part of the faults of his style, because he does kind of neglect Hydralisk Den and Aspire for a long time, and he doesn't get too many queens either. So we'll see how Kaozfate approaches this here in game 2. What I will say is, because of Erik's unique style, you don't get a lot of practice against it. There aren't that many Zerg players out there who play like Erik. There are a couple who do play similarly, but not all the time. I think the biggest one is probably Dark, the Korean Zerg player. He also goes very roach heavy into lurkers. He has his own style though, and he goes into lurkers a little bit faster. So it's like a variant of how Erik plays, or I should say Erik's style is a variant of Dark. Meanwhile, oh my god. The Lings of Erik, actually, they get across the map, force a lot of boys off the line. This feels almost like an overreaction here. It's only 4 Lings. Jesus Christ. But I guess Chaos didn't want to turn around with his Reaper. So, yeah, I mean, Kaozfate will push us away, but this is a lot of damage. Like, oh my god. How many is that? That's like, what, like 10 workers were forced off the line? Jesus. Meanwhile, the Hellion will be able to clean this up, but again, these Lings did so much already. Meanwhile, the Reaper does turn around. He was trying to like delay the 3rd base, but the 3rd base did go down. It looks like some of the Queens were a little bit delayed here, but you know, Erik, he's still getting everything underway. And once again, we have a 1-1-1 opener from Kaozfate. This is a little bit faster though. If you recall, last game, he went for a faster 3rd TC, so it was a more economic focused. This is a little bit more aggressive here. So we could see faster Banshees and a more commitment to Banshees. Meanwhile, interesting, we have a wave of Lings coming out here from Erik. Oh my, there we go. We have our Roach Warren. Of course it's a Roach Warren. Chaos is on Eximius Gaming. Yes, Kaozfate, he joined Eximius maybe 2 weeks ago. It's relatively recent. That he did join less than a month ago. But yeah, we noticed that last week in Sentimiento Latino, he was also representing their team. And we'll see how he does here. Erik, you know, a little bit getting ready to go into that big Roach push here. Already 2 Overlords on the way. The Roach Horn does finish up. And what's interesting is that, again, he isn't really droning up this 3rd base here. Really focusing on those Roaches, which makes sense, you know, to hold the initial push. Meanwhile, Kaozfate, he actually didn't go for the swap here. He is going for a Liberator instead. Meanwhile, the Hellions dip in a little bit, but they do get pushed away by the Queens. Oh, not enough energy for Transfuse. Oh, the Overlord does go down. Feels bad, man. But yeah, interesting decision here that that Kaozfate is going for Liberator Harass to begin with. Didn't waste his time on a Banshee and instead is going for a much faster Stim. And we'll see if this is going to hit with anything, because once Stim finishes, he can go into combat shields. Meanwhile, ooh, the Hellions actually sit by, but they do get surrounded by Lings. Oh, and this is a pretty rough loss, to be honest. All these Hellions are going to go down. How many workers do they get? 2 drones? Ay, that's not ideal whatsoever. I do like this though. This Viking will take out this Overlord, and that will mean that the Liberator will have an easier time sneaking in. As Liberator does move out, but it gets spotted by the Lings. Oh, that's so unlucky. I'm sure Kaozfate, he wanted this to be a surprise, but it did get spotted. So now Erik knows that Liberator is going to be on the way. He should be repositioning these spores for Liberator defense. There we go, he's taking his own 4th base, working on his Evo chambers for his upgrades to get into that +1 range, into that Roach Ravager heavy style. Meanwhile, Kaozfate is looking to hit a pretty strong timing here. Again, Combat Shields is going to finish up. By the time it finishes up, 1-1 should be ready to go. But yo, Kaozfate barely has anything here to defend. He's got a single tank. The wall goes down. The Lings do flood in. Can he get on top of the tank? The tank is going to get piled. And the tank falls. Oh my god, this is disastrous. I mean, Kaozfate should still be able to clean this up, but damage is being done here. Imagine if Erik link flooded behind this. Like, Kaozfate would be dead. At the same time, the Liberator is trying to deal some damage, and you know, he gets 3 drones, but there are plenty of Queens. This should be cleaned up. This shouldn't deal too much more damage. Meanwhile, the Ravagers finally get dealt with. But again, if Erik was just holding down that link key, like, he could have just flooded in. Everything here at the Natural would have gone down. Again, there are no tanks, only Marines, so it would have been so difficult for Kaozfate to really come back from this. Regardless, Erik, he takes a small lead, you know, and he maintains it. There he goes, working on his upgrades. His lair was pretty late. I don't want to say it was delayed. I think it was straight up late. So Glav Constitution, it's going to take a while to really kick in. So at the moment, Erik is a little bit vulnerable. Like, Kaozfate has a 2 upgrade lead right now. Erik is at 0-0 with no Ravagers. If Kaozfate hit now, I think he would have a decent shot, to be honest. It wouldn't be easy, but again, Erik, this army isn't very sophisticated right now. But at the moment, because Kaozfate lost the tank earlier and he took that damage, that slows down his push. That means he's less confident to push out on the map, you know? If that didn't happen, I'm sure Kaozfate would be all over Erik right now. There'd be nothing stopping him, and he maybe would win this game off of that. But now, like, he's kind of stuck at home. He doesn't have as much as he would like. He's being a little bit more tentative and a little bit more careful. There we go, the Ravagers are done. Oh my god, no, the tanks are so exposed! One tank immediately goes down, and so will the second. Ay, ay, ay. And the third, get away, puppy! Oh god, as honestly, Kaozfate, he's trading well. Again, 0-0 Roach Ravager, right? Like, we see how much more effective the bio is here. Erik, he traded very well, but yo, why are you slowing down? Keep going! Oh god, Kaozfate could totally keep going, but now he gave Erik enough time. More Ravagers are morphed in, a wave of Lings are morphed in as well. The Queens come in, the Biles are gonna land and connect with the tank and a medevac. And Erik is able to just easily clean this up. Because you know why? Mate, 1-1. It finished up. Erik, that gap in upgrades, it is gone, mate. Kaozfate had a window there, a window of opportunity, and that window has been shut closed. And now Erik is going out across the map. There is still one tank to defend, so it's going to be really hard to really push up this ramp. There we go. Erik does get deflected. But you know what's not off that ramp? This base. The third base is vulnerable. It's under threat here. He has to be careful not to expose his Ravagers. His Ravagers are left behind the Roaches, but there we go. He has enough to go toe-to-toe with the Bio. Reinforces across the map with Roaches and Lings. The creep highway is here. It's already across the map. And I don't know how Kaozfate holds here. Does have a tank on the back line. It's just gonna go bile down. It's just it's just the name of the game at this point. Everything else is going to fall. We have a couple of Lings here just wreaking havoc at the third base. And Kaozfate, he fought well. Again, he didn't look bad here. There were plenty of opportunities for him, but he wasn't able to take advantage of them. And Kaozfate, it looks like he's gonna fall here. There's nothing left at the third. The army is pushing into the natural. Even if Kaozfate cleans this up, which is completely possible, he's working on the next step. We have Infestors on the way. We have Barred Roaches on the way. Like, Erik is getting ready to style on Kaozfate. Oh my god. Mules are pretty good though. Mules are pretty good, so we'll see if Kaozfate can like try and claw himself back from this. Again, it's only Roaches, no more Ravagers remaining here for Erik. And this will get cleaned up. 2-2 did just finish for Kaozfate, so oh no. Oh no. No, Kaozfate, he just used all his energy on those mules. Oh god, the Roaches are gonna get into the natural base. Again, this is just being more annoying than anything really. And as Erik is being annoying, he's getting saturated on 4 bases. He's working on his hive. He's slowly gathering that energy on those infestors. We got Roaches harassing all over the place at the third base, in the main base, in the natural. Kaozfate, he's being pulled apart. He may be forced all in. Oh my god, the Fungals land! There's no follow-up Biles though. There are no Ravagers, only Roaches. So this isn't the most efficient trade here, but regardless, you know, the energy, the Fungals are dealing a lot of damage. As long as the Infestors can escape. Okay, they do waddle away. This isn't pretty. There's not a lot of finesse going on here for Erik. There we go. Ravagers are finally coming in. And I would be a little bit concerned here for Erik, just because the army's here, but like there's barely anything. There's barely any Terran left, mate. It's just not here. Oh god. And in the end, this will all get cleaned up. No GG? No GG as Erik takes down Kaozfate 2-0.